Good evening to everybody who's joining to our Facebook live session today. We warmly welcome you on behalf of British Council. Today we are going to discuss a very useful topic which most of the test takers have come across a lot of difficulties getting through the exam. So we've decided to give you tips on what to do and what not to do during preparation, which is the very important period when you book a test with British Council. So today we have our IELTS expert, Mr. Naaren Moharanjitan, who has ample years of experience on IELTS. So I invite Naaren to share your knowledge with our viewers. Over to you, Naaren.
Thank you very much, Anita, for that wonderful introduction. As usual, thank you for inviting me. Let us first start with listening. So I don't want to repeat things here. Today is going to be do's and don'ts in the exam as well as at home when you practice. So let me start with listening. When it comes to listening, there are four parts, as you all know. Maybe you are practicing at the moment. Those four parts, the first two parts are the most important parts in the exam, because altogether there are 40 questions. Each part takes 10. Each part gives you 10 marks. So first two parts are very crucial because they contain very specific information. They are not as difficult as the third part and the fourth part. So please concentrate more on the first two parts and make sure that you get as maximum as possible in the first two parts. For example, if you are looking for 6 bands, 6.57 bands, if you do the first part, almost 3/4 of the band score is earned in the first two parts, 2020. So my first tip is concentrate more on the first and second part. Third part listening can be a little bit difficult, as many people say, but there, do listen to end of the conversation in each section, each question. For example, they give you they give you multiple choice questions. So third part, first question, multiple choice question. There are 3 or 4 answers. So you must be very carefully listening to the conversation until the end of each section to answer. So that is one thing. But please do not try to answer as you listen, because that's going to be a disaster, because sometimes the speaker may change his or her opinion at the end. So listen until the end. And while you're listening, I am now focusing on MCQ questions, because that is what many people say they find it difficult. So keep your pencil when you are working, if it is a paper-based exam or when you're practicing at home, keep a sharp pencil in your hand. And whenever you don't only listen to the right answer, but also listen to the wrong answer. If you think an answer is wrong, put a cross quickly and then wait until the right answer comes. So there are 4 questions. Sometimes there are occasions when all 3 answers are wrong and you couldn't understand the right answer. But still you are at an advantage because you have already marked the wrong answers. Now, whatever is there, I mean, the rest of the answer, there is only one answer, and that is the correct answer. Many times it's the case. And then always read the rubrics. Many places they mention use one word. Sometimes they say not more than 2 words. So sometimes you put an unnecessary word there, then your answer is marked wrong. So there you must be careful. Because sometimes the first question itself they might say use not more than 2 words. Sometimes they say only 1 word. In many chances. At the end, that is at the fourth one, you will be asked to write only 1 word answer. And okay, I will recapitulate what I told you before. Do not answer immediately. Wait until you end the listening conversation. And another very big mistake many people make is they have a habit of writing all the answers starting with a capital letter. So if the answer is water, they start with W. If it is fish, they start with another F, capital F. So that answer is going to be wrong if your answer does not require a capital letter. imagine the answer is London or Sri Lanka or India or Glasgow, then your first letter, that is the first letter, should be capitalized. So uh, capitalization, punctuation, that is part of punctuation, spelling, all these things are, all those errors are penalized in the exam. So you must be careful about that. Now, there is another important thing. Don't just look at the answer. When, say, filling the blanks answer, there's a table given in this thing. You are supposed to fill in the blanks. Do not only just look at the answer, look at the whole conversation and follow the speakers along with the conversation until you get the answer. So if you are just keeping a pencil on the answer, say the fifth question, and you're looking at part by part, sometimes you might think that is the end of the speaking paper. Sorry, that is the end of the part one, end of part one. And then it can get you surprised, and then you lose the mark. Okay. And now let us go to speech. Now, if you have any questions, please shoot your questions on the chat because Shanita then will ask those questions for all of us. Now let's go to speaking. In speaking, feel confident. That is number one. Do not walk into the exam hall with a lot of nervousness and then shaky, shaky hands and all that. So you just walk in very confidently. That is why practice is important. I always tell candidates to practice a lot to get rid of that nerves. Practicing at home. In those days when I was doing the exam, like 18 years ago, we never had these devices, computers were there, but we didn't have those smartphones with us, and all those devices were missing. So I remember using a tape recorder to record my voice. But here you have these so many things. You have those devices. So record yourself and listen. If you have somebody who can speak English at home, or at least who can at least read English at home, ask those people to ask questions. These questions can be found in the internet, freely available. So get those questions, ask your partner or your family member to read the question, you answer and record the voice. And that is very important. Do not think about going to the exam without any practice, with a lot of confidence, and then sometimes you might get surprised. Use idiomatic expression. That's the do. Low frequency vocabulary. Idiomatic expressions you can learn from your teachers or from your course books and also from the internet. I'm not talking about idioms, but idiomatic expressions. So get a list of idiomatic expressions and always try to see whether you can use it in the right context. And there I had to give you another clue. Don't. And don't memorize phrases and idioms and try to go and just say those things in the exam out of context. Let me give you an example. Plethora. That's a word that is used very wrongly in many situations in exam these days. Plethora means a variety of. So you can't go and say I come from Maradana, which has a plethora of fauna and flora. Just because you know, I like Maradana. That's a place where you get lots of shopping and lots of. It's a bustling place, but you can't simply go and say that has a lot of fauna and flora just because you know the word for it. So be careful there. Avoid nervousness, as I told you before. Then always remember the examiner's job is actually to see what you can do and not to find out what you can't do. So examiners are trained in that. So please feel confident and just say whatever they ask you. And some people don't want to give information about themselves. They ask, where do you come from? Or sorry, what do you do? You can give your answers. It's all right. We are not looking. Examiners are not embassy or high commission officials. They are not going to give you a visa. Their job is just to see whether you can speak good language. Therefore, don't worry about those. If you want to leave the country and if you want to say that, please say that. You don't need to hide things there. So I'm not training you to look at face as an embassy or high commission interview here. This is a language interview. So you can say whatever you want to say. Especially in the third part, when it comes to opinion questions. You can say your actual opinion without worrying whether you are going to hurt your examiner or whatever. But having said that, always remember, a moment, always remember the answer should be relevant, and also you should be a little bit, what can I say, mm, not very rough. Sometimes people disagree with the examiner, like saying just like no. Do you think marriage will continue in the next century? Some people say no, but that's not very polite to say. They can say, I'm sorry to disagree with you. I think marriage will survive in the next century too. So that is one thing. And when it comes to the second part, they give you 1 minute for preparation. Always prepare. Some candidates feel too confident and they don't prepare. What happens after 1 minute or 1.5 minutes? They dry up. Now, I am not telling you all those details, imagining that, assuming that you all know those steps or those parts, part 1, 2, and 3. In part 2, you are given this topic. So make sure that you take that time, that 1 minute, to prepare. Don't feel too confident to say whatever you want. So that is about. And by the way, when it comes to looking at your grammatical structures, examiners always look for a variety of structures for 7 bands and above. So what do you mean with this variety? Not only, but also, having said that, if not clause, for example, if not for technology, we wouldn't have done this kind of information sharing activity. So things like that kind of structures you can memorize it. I'm talking about deep memorization, not sentences, but the ideas, and then you try to apply it to situations and context. That is when you practice at home. Now let me go to reading. All right. Reading, for academic candidates, each section has 20 minutes. What you have to do, what you should do is, do not always spend 20 minutes on each task. Sometimes the first part can be easier than the second and the third part. In such cases, you can do it in 15 or 18 minutes and then save that time up to spend on the last part, which is slightly more difficult than the first 2 parts. But then keep a track of the time. So in your answer paper, somewhere in the paper, in your question paper, mark the time you start and mark the time you end each part. Then you know how much time is there. Those who are doing computer delivered exams, you have an inbuilt clock on the screen, and it will tell you how much time you have and how much you have spent and how many questions you have answered also. So make use of those things. And 20 minutes, as I told you, spend at least first 1 or 2 minutes to analyze the questions. Do not answer without analyzing the question. What I mean is, sometimes people don't read the question. What they do first, they read the whole paragraph and then they go to the question. That is not a very good idea. Some people read the question and then look for that answer everywhere in the text. That is also not a very good idea. I'm giving you 2 tips today. Try both of them and see which one is suitable for you, because not 2 exam candidates will feel like the same. Number 1, first analyze the questions. There are so many types of questions, MCQs, true, false, not given, filling the blanks of a chart, a flow chart, a table, summary writing, and then finding a heading to suit the paragraph, and then following, they give you for certain sentences and ask you to find out where these information can be found, which paragraph. So all these are different types of questions. So what you have to do is read those question types. If you want, you can underline the keywords and then go and read the first paragraph and then see whether any answers can be done, any questions can be answered, any answers can be found. So first paragraph, see what answers can be found. Then you do that. And second paragraph, again, do the same thing. Likewise, go paragraph by paragraph. That is one method. Another method is read the questions, read the whole paragraph, whole passage. That's only, always only 2 pages in the academic module. So read the whole paragraph, whole passage, and then again go and try to answer question by question. That is another method. So at home, try both methods and see which one is suitable for you. One thing you should never do, try that and see at home before going to the exam. Some people give advice. Unfortunately, there are some websites that give the following advice that I'm going to give, which you are not supposed to follow. They ask you to read the first sentence in the first paragraph and last sentence in the first paragraph, and that is enough to understand the whole passage. I'm sorry, wrong. Maybe they are referring to having a glance at the whole passage. That is, before you read in detail. Always reading in detail is the most important thing, but you should not spend too much time on areas which is not relevant to the question. Imagine that you are supposed to answer this question: how noodles is made. And in one paragraph, they talk about the process of making noodles. So you are supposed to read only that part when you answer that particular question. But anyway, for other questions, you may be required to read the whole thing. So that is one important tip that I can give you. And also remember, unlike in listening, you are not given extra time for transferring your answers to the answer sheet. So always you have no time for that. So always within the 20 minutes, just answer before you go to the next set of questions. GT people, my advice is first two parts, part 1 and part 2, which are very easy scanning and skimming questions. Please spend not more than 15 minutes each. That means you have done the first two questions in half an hour. You have another half an hour to answer the last question, which is similar to all parts in the academic training. So if you can, get some papers from academic, you can practice it. That's also a good idea. But unfortunately, academic training people, you cannot do anything with the general training paper. Finally, writing. Writing, I am only going to talk about the second part. Maybe Shanita can give me another chance to talk only about the first part. That is also worthwhile doing. Reading, first of all, look at the question. I am talking about the essay. And read carefully, underline the keywords. Chances are, if you miss one or two words, the entire answer can go wrong. Therefore, read very carefully. Read the question carefully, underline the keywords, and never write the answer after reading the question. Never do that. Some people do that. They read the question and start writing the answer. There is another step in between, brainstorming for writing. Example, money can make people happy. Money is I'll rephrase that question. Many people believe that wealth is a good indicator of happiness. That is the statement. They say, do you agree or disagree? So now put a line, agree, disagree, and write down all the ideas that come into your brain on the paper. That is what we call brainstorm. And then at least try to find out 3 to 4 ideas for each agree and disagree part, and then decide upon only 2 things. That's better. 1 or 2, but I say 2 because then you have some information to talk about. 2 points why money can make you happy. It gives you the purchasing power to buy anything you want, maybe one thing, and then it can give you a lot of self-esteem that you have achieved something in life too. So you take those things. When you are selecting the points, always think whether I can give more supportive arguments to this point. Those are the points that you choose and select. So you put some idea and you feel, oh, I don't have anything more to say about that, then don't take those points. Now the points are taken. Now your supporting ideas are all ready. Now you can write your answer. But remember, to plan, to read the question, to brainstorm, and to select, you spend only 5 minutes. Some people even spend 10 minutes if they are good writers. But minimum time that I recommend is 5 minutes for preparation, 25 minutes for writing, and you have another 5 minutes because the test is 40 minutes. Another 5 minutes to go through the paper and look for correction. And also remember, you can write with your pencil or pen. My recommendation is you write with a pencil so that you can erase and adjust your writing. You can cut down a phrase or a vocabulary item. You can adjust. That is one. Another important thing is there are 4 paragraphs. Always follow this 4 paragraph idea. One is introduction. Second part is agree in that particular question we're talking about. Agree. Third one disagree. Finally, your conclusion, your own opinion. But always remember, agree, disagree. I took this part because this is the question that many people ask questions about. Although the question asks, do you agree or disagree? After doing the brainstorming, you decide which side to take. Imagine that you are taking the disagree part. Then you have to talk about the agree part after the introduction. And then you say disagreement. And finally, your conclusion. All questions, there are 5 types of questions: problem solution, double question, agree, disagree, discuss both views, advantages and disadvantages. These are the 5 questions. In all 5 questions, you have to look at both sides of the argument. Even though you are agreeing or disagreeing, then you should look at both sides. Then a question might be, why should I, when I agree, why should I talk about disagree? So take this stance. What you do is you disagree with the idea that money can bring happiness. All right. So in the second part, you say, according to some people, money can buy happiness. Then say why those people say money is important to bring happiness. And the third part is your perspective. So maybe you can start. However, in my perspective, I don't think money can buy everything in life. And then you justify your answer. Again, at the end, conclusion, you have to reiterate your position. Now, what is this position? Position means your side, the stance, which side you take. That should come in the beginning also. I mean, in the introduction also, you should say, some people say this, some people say that, but I say this. If you miss that, it's difficult to get more than 7 times in your task completion or task response. So that is, but finally, don't rush. Don't rush. You have time. 5 minutes you already spent on that. You have 25 minutes. You are writing more or less 20 sentences to reach 250 words. So always think about that. Less than 250 words, you will be penalized. Word count more than 250, no problem. Even in the first part, more than 150 is not a problem. Under length, meaning less than the stipulated required words, you will be penalized for that. Okay? Thank you very much. So I have given you a lot of ideas. Now it's time for you to ask me questions. Shanita, anybody is asking questions?
Yes, Naaren, there are a lot of questions. So I think a lot of people are interactive today. So I'll read one by one. You can answer. Please mention the correct date format. If it is asked to write one word or a number.
All right. One word and or a number. For example, if the answer is 25th October, you can say one word or one number is already there, 20. 25th, th is considered as a word, plus 20th with the number. So October is there, 20th October, 2 words. In that case, if you write the 25th of October, then you are going to get the wrong answer because you have extra words. The 25th of. When you're writing a date, there are 2 ways of writing. If you use the, you should always use of. The 25th of November. But if you are, it's better to say 25th November. There's another way of doing that. So you can do that. If you write 25 stroke November 11, that's going to be a wrong answer because you don't have the year. So always be careful with that. Thank you. And having said that, zip codes. Look for zip codes. How zip codes are usually written. We don't have zip codes in Sri Lanka, I suppose. We don't use them. We have postal codes, but they have zip codes. Zip codes are always capitalized and numbered. So there's a number and also capital letters. So if you write small letters there, it's going to be wrong. Yes, Shanit.
Are there any similar exams like IELTS?
That's an interesting question. I don't know whether I have to answer that. Similar exams like
I
IELTS.
think, Naaren, there are few exams which some are available in Sri Lanka, some are not. But the most popular for The format is IELTS. World's most popular exam format is IELTS for your knowledge on English.
And plus, maybe you are referring to, IELTS has different forms. IELTS, CD IELTS, computer delivered, paper delivered, and then also you have something called UK visa, UK visa IELTS. There's no difference. Only there will be camera in front of you throughout all exams. Listening, reading, speaking, everything. You are videoed, and your face and everything is shared with the embassies and high commissions. And the pricing wise, the content wise, everything is the same. If you are referring to another, then there is another IELTS, that is life skills IELTS. That's for migration purpose only, which only consists of listening and speaking. There's no reading, writing.
Thanks. Uh, is there a computer-based exam? I think you have already answered.
Computer delivered, which is some there are advantages, and sometimes I won't say disadvantages. If you are somebody who can type fast, and if your job requires to sit in front of the computer every day, maybe that is the exam that you take if you are not familiar with your writing. Some people write only shopping list with their hand, and even that can be done in your phone. So if you are somebody like that, I recommend computer delivered exam. And another advantage is you get the results in 5 days, whereas in paper based you have to wait for 14 days.
An update, Naaren, you get in 3 days on the computer delivered exam.
Oh, nowadays developed.
Right. What could be done to raise the pace of reading?
You mean the speed of reading? Oh, that's a wonderful question. There are apps which are called speed reading apps. You can use them to check your speed. But I'll give you a count. If you can read 200 words in 1 minute, you are a very good reader. 1 minute, 200 words. If you are below that, you are slightly below average. So make sure that you can read 200 words per minute. And there's another extra idea I can give you. You do that. This is a very important, useful idea. Many candidates follow this, those who come for seminars and classes. First thing, after you do the test paper, you checked your answers, and you have marked your answers when you are doing the practice. Now, don't just throw away that question paper. Read that again. I'm talking about those materials. Read that again without ignoring the questions. Read them as a test reading material. So when you read that several times, the same text or different text, you get into that kind of idea. So you know what kind of texts and passages are there for your exam. You get familiarized with that kind of writing, native speaker writing. So some people say you can go and read newspapers, magazines. Yes, if your exam is like another 8 months or 1 year later, you can do that. But if your exam is around the corner, next month, my recommendation is you read the same paper several times. Same advice is given for listening. Do the paper, mark your answers, listen again and again to get familiarized with that pronunciation. Right?
Right. The next one is, hi sir, the listening 4 parts is same for the GT and academic level papers.
Exactly. Not only that, even the speaking test is the same. When candidates come, examiners don't know, unless otherwise they look at the mark sheet. They don't know whether you're academic or general. It doesn't matter. It's the same. Listening is also the same, as well as the writing part. The last part, the essay, is the same for both parties.
Right. Can I listen again audio? Can I listen again audio in listening tests? I think maybe the repeating.
That's what in the exam. No, in the exam you listen only once. I am talking about the practice stage. In practice stage at home, listen all the time. If you are driving to work, always listen to something after at least for 1 month, because that decides whether you want to go for higher studies or stay in this country, or whether you to migrate or stay in this country forever. So always listen to that. You can use your pen drive or whatever to listen to those things when you're driving. Or now, forget about driving. Even when you're going in a bus or public transport, use your phone to listen to those tracks again and again. But in the exam, you can listen to them only once.
Next one, UKVI and normal GT exam modules, will it be same or UKVI is harder than normal GT?
I have already answered. The content is
Yes.
the same. There is hardly any difference. There is no difference, to be honest. Same exam. Only thing is there's a camera in front of you. That's all.
Thanks. I think you mentioned that easier.
Mhm.
With regards to the reading, how can reading comprehension be developed?
I think I
I think
answered
you
that.
touched, yes.
Yes, reading again. But again, I'll tell you one thing I ask you not to do. Just don't try to browse through the paragraph and try to get the answer. You'll be wasting your time. Read the question carefully, underline keywords, and then when you are reading the paragraph, read the paragraph fully. But then you might ask, am I not wasting my time reading the whole paragraph? No, because slow is fast here. Because when you read in a considerable speed, you understand the whole thing in the paragraph. Then you will be able to answer. If you are just looking at the first sentence, second sentence, and then finally the last sentence, it's not going to make any sense. So practice in both way and find out yourself. Don't trust me. Don't trust all those YouTube videos you find, but trust yourself. Do that. Practice whatever they say, and then you decide. And you will then agree with me that reading a paragraph fully is the best thing to do.
Thank you. The last question is, please mention better apps for reading practice.
Mm. There is a speed reading app. I can't give you a name. I'm not supposed to recommend any particular brand. Just Google for reading, or in your Play Store or wherever. Go for speed reading apps. There some are there which are cheap. I found one thing, I can't remember the name, where you can actually cut and paste your text into that so that you can read the whole thing. But unfortunately, many are not. No, you can find some reading text worded ones. I mean, put in the word document. So then you can cut and paste it in the app, and then you can develop your reading. But PDF files you cannot do. Uh, so speed reading app is a wonderful thing if you have the exam like 2 3 months later. But if you have next week, I always recommend do the same paper again and again and again and again.
There's an interesting question just pop up, Naren. I would like to ask it before closing. Any comments on colloquial language be used at the speaking test?
Colloquial, excellent. Colloquial language should be always avoided. Remember, this is an exam which is formal. So now see, I'm wearing a tie. It tells me that I am in a formal conversation with you. So I should not be using colloquial language. IELTS exam is a formal exam. So you shouldn't be using words like guys, kids, stuff, thing. These are non-specific words. I'm talking about stuff and thing. But kids is an informal word. Use children instead of that. Um, Phrases like "Don't you know these days?" or something like that shouldn't be. It's a conversation, correct, but it's a formal conversation. In a job interview, would you be saying, "Those guys didn't give me a good salary, that's why I came to you guys"? You will never say that in an exam, in an interview, job interview. It's the same here. Colloquial language should be avoided. Things like cause for because, it should be avoided all times, all three parts.
Thank you very much, Naren, for your time given today to share your knowledge with our participants. And thank you very much for participating today with the live session. And we wish you all the very best if you are taking an IELTS exam. And also, you could always log into our website, britishcouncil.lk, and book your test online, which is very easy. And there was a question on IELTS classes, preparation courses. I advise you to log into britishcouncil.lk, and there is a tab for class preparation classes. Please do look it. We will be publishing the dates. Thank you very much. Have
One
a
more thing,
nice evening.
Sanitha, one
Yeah.
more thing. I was talking about my tie and formal dress, but when it comes to dressing, clothing, I mean, please do not wear very formal clothes like what I'm wearing. It's not required. Your makeup, your clothes, your perfumes, they don't give you marks. Only your language gives you marks. So you can dress informally, but your language should be formal. That's what. Don't get me wrong. I think I gave an example in that context, but that dress-wise, I mean, you don't need to worry about what you wear. Decent, informal clothes. Or if you want to be formal, okay. But it's not a requirement. Thank you very much, Shanita, for inviting. Thank you very much, British Council, for inviting. Hopefully you enjoyed, not only enjoyed, you learned something from this very short session. Hope to see you at British Council for registrations and for the exams. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Thank you all the participants. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.